Hello everyone, welcome to the South Coast Reptiles YouTube channel. In this episode, we're going to be going over 4 reasons why your leopard gecko may not be eating. Reason 1, introduction. What I mean by introduction is when you first go on your lizard shop and you first bought your leopard gecko and that first day you bring them home, they're not very likely to want to feed on this day. So if you're watching this video because you just bought your leopard gecko and you've just brung them home, best thing you can do is you put them in their enclosure, give them the time they need to adapt and acclimatise to their new enclosure. And once they've adapted and they've got used to their new enclosure and new surroundings, after maybe a day or two, they'll start eating as normal. Well, they should start eating as normal as long as their environment's correct, and that they should be completely fine. So introductionary is just literally bring them home, give them a few days just to acclimatise their new environment, and they should start eating fine after 2 or 3 days maximum. Reason 2 is lack of enrichment. So what I mean by lack of enrichment is obviously in our leopard gecko enclosures, the idea is we are trying to mimic the natural environment of a leopard gecko in order for the leopard gecko to give us the natural behaviours they would have in the wild in that environment. For example, the natural behaviour obviously in this video would be hunting and feeding. If they don't live, some leopard geckos, if they have an enclosure which is not set up correctly, or maybe the temperatures are wrong or something, but mainly due to cover, because obviously leopard geckos like to have cover because they are naturally a prey animal in the wild, eaten by things like birds of prey, foxes and other kind of carnivores. They do like to have ground cover, so just a bit of enrichment, a few fake plants, maybe some climbing opportunities, enough hides. If they feel safe and comfortable in their enclosure, they will then eat. If they don't feel safe and comfortable, they're not going to risk going outside of their hides because they feel too much at risk, because it's not a safe enough place for them to go out and hunt. Reason 3 is impaction. Now, impaction is one of them words that we all hate. As the reptile keeper owners, it's one of the worst things you can hear is impaction. What is impaction? Impaction is when your leopard gecko, or any reptile for that matter, is ingested something which cannot pass through their natural digestive tract. So that could be you're feeding them too large feeder insects and it's caused a clog up in their digestive tract, or because of lack of husbandry or poor husbandry, they might start eating their substrate in order to try and get whatever nutritional value they're lacking in their diet and the husbandry anyway. But obviously impaction is one of them things. If your leopard gecko, the signs of impaction are basically your leopard gecko, normally they'll slowly start to stop eating. There won't be no other reason you can find for it, but they'll just slowly start to lose interest in eating. This commonly happens if you've just changed your substrate sometimes. For example, when we had Lizzie, we changed our substrate to corn cob. Within weeks, she was impacted. And we had to give her a warm bath, which is on the channel, how we done that in the warm bath video. Obviously, we had to give her a warm bath, which then allowed her to pass her feces, which solved her impaction. Obviously, we took her straight off a corn cob and put her straight back onto the stuff that she was on beforehand, because we knew she was fine with it. But impaction is one of them things. So if signs of impaction, if the warm bath doesn't work, obviously your next step after that, you have to go find your nearest exotic reptile vet and obviously go get their opinion on what the next stages you can take are. Because obviously after the bath method, there's not really any other options apart from what a vet can do, obviously, rather than what you can do at home. Reason 4, breeding season. Obviously, a leopard gecko breeding season starts from the late spring, so you're talking about April, May kind of time, and runs up until the end of July kind of time, so into your like midsummer kind of time of the year. Now, why this can stop your leopard gecko from feeding is because if you've got a female leopard gecko especially, sometimes, even though they haven't been exposed to a male leopard gecko, never had a mating experience ever, they will still go through the gestation period and will still have eggs develop inside of themselves. And obviously that takes a lot of energy, and they'll go into this mode where it's like their only focus is reproduction. The only focus is finding the male, breeding, laying the eggs. That's literally all they focus on. Some leopard geckos will slow down their eating, and some leopard geckos go as far as they'll just point blank refuse to eat. They're just not interested in eating, they won't. It can last for a couple of months, but normally after the breeding season is over, so end of July kind of time, if they've stopped eating completely, they should start to slowly get back into eating, and you'll probably find after the breeding season, they'll eat like pigs. because they have literally starved themselves at the breeding season, get the end of the breeding season, and they're going to try and regain all that lost weight, all that lost stuff they've lost, because obviously they're preparing themselves for the next breeding season next year. So the only thing you really do with this, if your leopard gecko is one of these ones that does this like breeding season fast, is just during the months when they are feeding in between the breeding seasons or leading up to the breeding season, just try to feed them a little bit more, just to increase their body reserves, so they've got enough reserves in their body that they can get through the breeding season and they're all fine. So obviously they are the 4 main reasons why I know of a leopard gecko would stop eating. There are many other reasons out there why they should. If it doesn't match up these reasons, I should obviously look elsewhere, do your research and that. But with them 4 reasons, they're probably the main ones I know of. The only one of them 4 reasons, obviously, which is a dangerous reason, is the impaction. But with the impaction, obviously, as we said, the warm bath or a vet visit is the thing you got to do. But all the others, it's just patience. Having reptiles is a patient game. Sometimes they just do not want to play the same game you're playing. They will go on hunger strikes, be it leopard geckos, your snakes, or any other reptile. Sometimes they will go through a hunger strike. Just got to be patient with them. Keep an eye on them. As long as you keep an eye on them, they're not losing absolutely tons of weight and they still look healthy, they should be fine, and everything should be fine for you. That's everything in this video from South Coast Reptiles. We hope this has been helpful to you in some way. Maybe some of your new leopard gecko keepers or more experienced ones. We hope this has been helpful for you. So thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.